Hello and welcome to another episode of Warhammer Motorsport. I am here today with this beautiful 2018 A6 and Pasha right there. We are doing an integrated engineering E85 conversion, stage 1 on here. Stay tuned, we're going to show you how to do it. Alright, this one came in with 0 miles till empty, but there's still a little fuel in there. So there's 2 ways you can get that fuel out. You can let it run like we're doing right now, or there's another way we can use VACCOM, VCDS to drain the fuel. We're going to show you how to do that in a second. Like I said, this car came in with 0 miles on it. Let's see if this thing will focus. 0 miles on it. But there's still a little bit of fuel left. We're still having to sit here and let it run. See, we're letting it run. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how to get the remaining fuel out of line. All right, so we have an intake on here, so this is gonna be a little bit easier. If it was the stock box, it'd be a little more difficult. But this line right here is your fuel line that brings fuel to the high pressure fuel pump. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna disconnect this fuel line right here. We're gonna pull it off to the side, put it in a tank, and we're gonna drain the fuel from here. All right, so now that I put gloves on and I'm not gonna smell like fuel and I got some rags, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this fuel line right here, like I said, at this point right there. Then we're gonna add a piece of hosing on the other side that allows us to put a fuel jug right here. We'll go ahead, I'll show you how to grab the VCDS. We'll go ahead and activate that fuel pump. We'll drain the fuel out. All right, so there's a little pressure that's gonna come out, and then boom, we've got it disconnected. So there's gonna be a little bit of fuel that comes out of here. So it's a good thing I got my rags right here. We're gonna make sure that we don't spill fuel around here. So I'm gonna take another rag and put it over the pump right here. Make sure that that's facing up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get another hose. We're gonna put it on the end here, and we're gonna drain out the fuel. What we've got here, we have got a hose of some kind. No, we got a silicone rubber tube here coming from our fuel line here, going straight into the fuel jug. So now we're gonna activate the fuel pump and get the rest of this fuel out. All right, so Pasha here, he is holding our fuel line right here. So we're gonna go ahead and activate this through VCDS. All right, so here we go. We have plugged into the car. Right here, we've plugged in. We've got the ignition on, and let's see, we are in VACCOM right here. Okay, so we're gonna hit select control module. Let this thing figure itself out. Go to engine. We're gonna let it identify. We're gonna go into basic settings. Then we're gonna go into this drop down menu. We're gonna go all the way down until we see drain fuel tank. We're gonna click drain fuel tank, and then we're gonna hit go. And then it's gonna be running. Then you know that we're actually draining fuel. Let's see. Are we draining fuel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are. We're draining fuel. All right, so sometimes on certain models, this only goes for 30 seconds at a time, right? So if that occurs, you're just gonna do the same exact steps. You're gonna keep activating it until there is no more fuel coming out of the fuel pump. Then you can go ahead and add your E85 to the tank. All right, so we see that it sort of stopped right there. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to the VCDS. We're gonna see what it looks like. Is it stopped? Nope, it's still running. Okay, so we're gonna hit stop. We're gonna reselect the drain the fuel tank feature. We're going to hit go, and then it's gonna be running again. And then we'll see if more is coming out. More coming out?
Nope.
No? All right, so that means that all the fuel has drained out. All right, so now we've drained all the fuel out. We're gonna reattach these fuel lines right here. We're gonna reroute this line underneath here like it was. take this off. It's empty now. Take this one out. Take our clips, open them back up. All right, you want to make sure this is completely pushed in, right? So pull on it a little bit, make sure it's completely sealed. We're gonna put this back in here. This tag doesn't need this. All right, so now we're gonna close the clips. All right, you wanna hear a click? There we go. Hear a click? There we go. Push that one back in like this. Take these hoses right here. Clip it back in. All right, we are clipped back in right here. All right, so the fuel line is reattached. So now we need to reattach the, well, I'm gonna leave the intake off so we can make sure there's no leaks when we start the car back up. But now we're gonna put in the E85 and allow the E85 to replace the 91 in the fuel lines up here in the engine. Yep. All right, so we've got our VP Racing fuel jug here with some E85. We have about 2.5 gallons here right now. Ideally, I would want to put 5 gallons in here, but Pasha only wanted to fork out for 2.5 gallons. So we're gonna put in the E85, then we're gonna run the car for about 5-10 minutes, allow that fuel to feed through, get those lines completely clear of the 91. Before we do anything with E85, we want to test the purity of the fuel. So if you're getting pump E85, which is mostly what I get, I would highly recommend getting a content sensor. If you don't have the funds or you just don't think it's necessary because you're always going to put E85 in the car, or you have a window of quality, say E80 to E85 that you can use, then, you know, that's totally fine. But we're gonna use this tester and we're gonna see exactly what purity the E85 is that I use and what is closest to me. So we're gonna use this RevX reusable tester. I'm gonna show you exactly how to use this and how to test your E85 before you put it in your car. All right, so I've got a little bit of E85 in here left over from the what the swap we did with that Crec. And so what I'm gonna do is all the directions are they're on here, they're pretty self-explanatory. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this to this line that says water. We're gonna fill this with water, all right? So now we have our water filled up to the water line. So now we're gonna put the fuel inside of here. We're gonna shake it up and we're gonna let it separate.
No words can change the future of us.
All right, so now we've got it filled up. Now what it says to do is to separate. You gotta shake well and then sit upright. So make sure it's tied on and then we're gonna shake it. As you can see, these are the different percentage grades right here. And we can see this is right on the line for E85. So we know this is pure ethanol. I'll put the link in the description below of where I got this. But the beauty of this one, it's reusable. So I just dump it out, clean it, and use it again. All right, so now we've ran the car, we're gonna go ahead and put the tune on, all right? First thing you wanna do is you wanna check the connection that you just undid. Make sure that you're not getting any leaks from there. You know, that looks really good. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the battery tender on. All right, so we've got our integrated engineering dongle plugged into the computer. Our ignition's on, our flash wizard, it is open. It has identified the vehicle. And so now all you're gonna do is hit the E85 option you're gonna hit next. All right, so when you were putting this tune on, all right, so it is in your best interest to put in an ethanol content sensor. Even though you're gonna be putting E85 in this car all the time, now that you have that E60 to E85 tune, you just wanna make sure that that purity does not drop below E60. There's a lot of issues that can occur with this tune. It pulls a lot of timing because you're using more fuel, you know, different spark, all of that stuff, different ignition temperatures, all that sort of stuff. You know, it really, you know, can cause a lot of damage if you don't run in between that window that this tune is expressly designed for. So content sensor, if you run a Fuelit or an AEM content sensor or something like that, you know, that'll be your best bet. But we know this VP Racing fuel is E82. We have tested it. We know that for a fact. So now that it is in the lines, we are going to go ahead and tune this with the E60 E85 tune. All right, so we finished the tune. We've cleared the codes using VCDS. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let this run for about 15 minutes. We're going to check the codes, make sure no fueling codes or nothing like that come back on. Then we're going to have Pasha drive it for 15 miles. We're going to have him come back. He's going to go real easy during that 15 miles. And he's going to come back. We're going to double check it again for codes. Then he should be good to go. All right, so this is the car that we just finished, the E85 swap. The Integrated Engineering Stage 1 E85 tune is now on this car. So it has about 506 crank horsepower. As you saw in the test, it is 85. It is E85 is 85% ethanol, so it's exactly what you want in the car. Absolutely perfect. So we did a test drive with it. We came back with a couple of codes, but it happened once. I didn't see any real need to be super, you know, worried about it. So I cleared it, and I told the customer, I told Pasha, hey, go ahead and drive it overnight, baby it, don't do anything crazy, come back in, and we'll check the codes again, see if there's anything, see if anything else came up. So we just did that. We just finished looking at the codes. There are absolutely no codes whatsoever. So I said, okay, cool, go around the block, do a nice little pull, see what you think. And what's the end result?
Bro, the tune, 100% worth it. This car is crazy now. The horsepower difference is insane.
Well, there you go. First-hand experience going from APR Stage 1 to the E85 Stage 1 Integrated Engineering. This thing's a monster. We're gonna get on the track later this year. We're gonna see exactly what it does. We'll do some draggy pulls in the next couple weeks. Stay tuned for that. Till next time, thanks for watching.